Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Dustin Kreis, and today we are finally going to do the Games of 2014 video. I kind of drug my feet on this one because I wanted to play Persona Q before I did this video. But then I decided I better play Persona 3 first before I played that so I can get all the references and everything. So, put it off because of that, and then ended up just not playing it because I want to do it sort of in the correct order. But anyway, I got a big list of games here, and there's going to be some noticeable things missing. I never picked up Destiny. I didn't pick up Grand Theft Auto 5. And there's a bunch of other big releases that I didn't pick up at all. If you're a longtime viewer of this channel, you know I kind of like the more niche stuff anyway. And yeah, I don't know. No part of me wanted Grand Theft Auto 5. Or, there's a part of me that still wants to get Destiny, but, I don't know. I haven't got around to picking it up yet. So anyway, if you do not see it on this list, I just didn't play it. And that's sort of how I do this list, is the new 2014 releases, the ones that I play and enjoy, or just play. In some of these cases, the ones that I just played. I make a big list of those games, keep a list of them, and at the end of the year I say which one I enjoyed the most. This is not me saying that these games are quote-unquote the best. They're just the ones I enjoyed the most. And if you disagree with this list, that's fine, because it's my personal list. And if you disagree with it, I would invite you to make your own list on YouTube and start your own channel and do that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started in on this with the honorable mentions. And these are it's actually four things, but they're in two groups. And they're just, I don't feel like putting them on the Game of the Year list, because three of them are ports and one of them is a teaser. And we actually had a discussion about whether or not this one thing was an actual game, because a lot of, I guess, websites are putting it in their Game of the Year list. But since it's a teaser and it's just supposed to kind of hint at what is coming, PT is going to be one of my honorable mentions. I like a good survival horror game when it is actually scary. And I was kind of, I wouldn't say terrified by PT, but I was definitely unnerved by it, because I did make the decision to play it at night in the dark with the sound up. And man, that thing can get under your skin, because just the atmosphere itself made me not want to go down the hallway, because what it is just a looping hallway. And you would think that would not be very terrifying, but as you go further and further into the realms of madness, just crazy shit starts to happen, sort of culminating with the spirit that is haunting this main character, which is Lisa. And there are times where you just go around that corner, and you wouldn't think like an L-shaped hallway would be that creepy, but when you get down to that corner and have to turn, and you're there and you see this grotesque body shape standing there, because Lisa is the spirit of the protagonist's dead wife, and she's so, like, her arms and legs are so much longer than what they're supposed to, not freakishly long, but just long enough that it makes her look incredibly creepy. And just to see her standing there underneath this chandelier, sort of silhouetted by the lighting, fucking creepy. And then she just starts, like, you'll see her in, like, the window panes, and there's this one scene where you just look up in the balcony and she's just standing up there watching you, and then she just turns around and walks away. They're tiny things that are completely unnerving. And I think that's, what Silent Hill does better than Resident Evil as being unnerving. I mean, there is a big jump scare in PT, but for most of it, it's the atmospherics. And I think that's what makes it such a memorable experience. I've gone back and kind of explored it a few more times. I still haven't figured out the exact way to get the Silent Hills trailer to pop up. There's a certain order to the events you have to do. And it just seems completely random sometimes. But I did watch the Silent Hills teaser on YouTube, so I'm really looking forward to that. But PT is definitely an honorable mention. The other honorable mention is the Dragon Quest 1 through 3 iOS ports. I don't like putting ports as in this game of the year type thing. Now, next year, I've decided that I'm going to do it a lot more like other people do and just rattle off the games that I've played in the year and rank them that way. Because new releases, for me anyway, are kind of few and far between on purchasing. Like I said, I don't really buy the big AAA titles, and then my stuff is always sort of the more quote-unquote niche stuff, I guess. And even though it's not really that niche, but you know, so to do a list of just releases of that year doesn't seem, I don't know, it doesn't seem as good anymore. So anyway, but for this list, we're gonna go ahead and stick with what I set out to do, and the Dragon Quest 1 through 3 iOS and Android ports. These are the definitive ways to play Dragon Quest 1 through 3. They're ports of the Super Famicom versions. So they have all the updates, like the Wisdom Seeds and things like that. And it's just amazing to have those 3 games, because I love Dragon Quest. It's my favorite series. And it's just amazing to have it wherever you go on your phone. And I know a lot of people sort of get up in arms about mobile gaming, over here in the States anyway, but it's really coming along, and my iPhone is one of my premier portable gaming systems. I got a lot of like old Final Fantasies and Dragon Quest, and then there's a bunch of just like iOS only RPGs that I've played. I got Lunar Silver Star Story Touch on my iPhone, so I mean there's a lot of great things out there for it, and I think it's coming along, you know, in a big way, but it's going to be a few more years, I think, before gamers accept the mobile platform as a viable format. I don't know. But anyway, if you have not played Dragon Quest 1 through 3, or if you've never played a Dragon Quest before, download these titles. Square Enix usually makes their titles really expensive on iOS, but for some reason the Dragon Quest ones are pretty inexpensive. I think Dragon Quest 3, which is the biggest of the 3 games, is like $10. So, you know, it's a lot more affordable than like buying Final Fantasy V for like $15. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it and get this list started so we can get this video, because this is going to be a long video, because this is actually the second take, because my first take, the file got corrupted. So fantastic. Anyway, starting off the list, and I think I counted the last time, I think there's 17 games here, so just shy of the top 20. So anyway, let's go ahead and start off with controversy. The 17th and the 16th game, I think that was the time my channel got the most thumbs down when I did videos on these games. And coming in dead last, I despise this game, and I despise the series, and I won't be coming back to it, and I won't be picking up the sort of pseudo-sequel that's going to be coming out here soon. But coming in last place is Dark Souls 2. I do not see what everyone is drawn to about this game, because maybe it's just me and not having a lot of time to play games and actually wanting to make progress in them. But I don't like feeling completely helpless in a game. It just annoys the fuck out of me. And I want to come home, I want to sit down, and I want to play a game, and at the end of that play session, I want to see some kind of progress made. And Dark Souls 2 just, I mean, I would sit down and I'd play for 4 hours, and like if I was playing a different game, 4 hours would be a lot of progress. And in this game, I made just very minuscule progress. And I'm like, I do not have the time. Do not have the time or the patience to deal with this game. I just hate how clunky the combat system is. And what was it? Was it Game Informer? They did kind of a humorous like ribbing of very well received titles, and they kind of, told exactly what was wrong with it. And I felt like the Dark Souls one was really good. It's just like, From Software just wants to make clunky controls and then like talk about it like it's a virtue or something. I really just despise the game. And I put like 14 hours into it, so I don't want to hear that I didn't give it a fair shot. And I played a lot of Demon Souls and didn't really care for it either. So I'm done with the Soul series. I just won't pick up another one, and I really have no hype or interest at all in Bloodborne. I just don't care. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty much done with From Software. I have a bunch of their other games. I like the Armored Core games. They're all right, but as far as a developer goes, I don't care for their stuff. And it's kind of the same as I don't care for Gust or other makers of games out there. It's just one of those things. I don't really care for Rockstar games anymore either. But yeah, Dark Souls, just hated it. And in that kind of sort of vein, another game that I actually thought I was going to like it because I sort of liked the predecessor to it. And at number 16 is The Evil Within. Man, was that a disappointment. I love Resident Evil 4. I had a ball playing Resident Evil 4. My friend Jeremy would come over, and he would just sit and watch me play this game. And it was a blast to play. But I think Resident Evil 4 is like one of those memories that's best left back in the day. Because there's something about the laser pointer shooter games that I just do not care for anymore. I played Shadows of the Damned, and while I really enjoyed Shadows of the Damned more than Evil Within, I still just kind of got frustrated with the fact that if my reticule is like half a pixel off, it feels like I do no damage to these enemies. And Evil Within, I mean, I kind of got sick of the gameplay mechanic. And then the storyline did nothing to draw me in, and it wasn't scary. It just seemed like they were throwing every like horror trope at the screen, hoping something stuck. And I don't know. I think like with Silent Hill, I'm so unnerved by it because the silence of the game. It's right there in the title, and there is sort of this creepy silence in Silent Hill. And with Resident Evil and with The Evil Within, it was just, monsters, 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 monsters. And I'm just like, done. I don't care. And I know a lot of people enjoyed the game, and that's fine, but it seems like in this little YouTube community, I know Danny didn't really care for it either, and Steven didn't like it at all either. So it's kind of weird how like fans of sort of that style of game didn't really care for it. But I don't know. It didn't light any fires for me, so I got rid of it. And I got rid of Dark Souls as well. Actually, that was the best thing about buying Dark Souls, was that I was able to get Steven, who really likes the game, I was able to give him my Black Armor Edition. Because when I went to buy one, that's all they had left was a single copy of the Black Armor Edition. I was like, all right, well, I'll take the limited edition. So I traded him for his vanilla version, and then traded in my vanilla version, and he got to get the Black Armor Edition. So it was good that way. I was able to give him a gift. Number 15. This was a game that I was really looking forward to, and then it came out, and man, was I bored with it. I don't know what happened. Like, the storyline didn't draw me in the way it was presented. I hated it. And the only good thing about it was the battle system, which is the Grandia battle system. And at number 15 is Child of Light. I was so looking forward to this. And then, just like, I felt like the storyline was doing nothing. I hated the poetry aspect of the storyline. It drove me up the wall. Like, it's just, when things are presented in a rhyming scheme, it irritates me for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's same thing with like musicals, when they, like, not musicals where they actually sing a song, but where they sing dialogue to each other. That just nails on the chalkboard to me. So this game, with its sort of rhyming couplet storyline, you know, I was just so annoyed with it the entire time, and bored with it. I was bored with the exploration. I don't know. I was really looking forward to it because it looked really awesome, the graphics, and just, you know, when you're looking at videos or pictures, you get hyped for it, and then you play it, and you're like, that's all that is, huh? And I guess it's really short, too. I should have really finished it, but it's still on my, I think it's on my Wii U. I think I got it on the Wii U. Yeah, I did. So it's still on there, and maybe I'll play it sometime, but, yeah, really disappointed in it. The next game I did not finish because I got distracted with something else, but it's still on my PS4, and I do plan on going back because I did have some fun times with it. But that's why it's so low on the list, because I did not finish it. And that is Outlast. And I can't remember if it's a 2014 release or if it was a late 2013 release, because it's just so long ago. But I put it on here anyway. And it seems to be the new thing with survival horror, is putting you in a place with no weapons, and the hiding aspect is now a big thing. And I really sort of enjoyed that in Outlast. I really enjoyed the night vision camera thing, because that creeps me out. Like, when you go into a dark room and you bring up that camera with a night vision, I don't know, there's just something about it that just makes me feel very claustrophobic, and like you're just waiting for something to happen, and it's the anticipation of something happening that's actually worse than something jumping out and scaring you. That anticipation, that slowly creeping through a room with a camera. And it's almost worse when something doesn't happen, because the anticipation never goes away. So really enjoyed it, and was kind of enjoying where the storyline was going, and then something pulled me away. I don't remember what it was, but I stopped playing it. So anyway, there's Outlast. Now we're finally to the point where I can start holding up games, because we're to the physical games, and games I still own. And coming in at, I believe, 14, I'll probably get to the end and realize the numbering's completely off, is South Park, The Stick of Truth. Really looked forward to this, and for the most part, really enjoyed it. If you love South Park, the show, this is probably the best. This is the best South Park game out there, and it really does feel like another episode of the show. And the places where this game goes is absolutely astounding. You know, just the storyline itself is just so hilarious. Really kind of a love letter to South Park fans out there. Where this game falls apart is the gameplay mechanics. It's sort of a Paper Mario-esque RPG. And I don't know, like, exploring the town was a lot of fun, but the battle mechanics just felt very sloppy. The leveling mechanics felt just really bland. I don't know. From the storyline perspective, I loved it. From the gameplay perspective, I just thought it was okay. And that's probably because it came from Obsidian, who I actually do not like as a developer. You know, they developed Fallout New Vegas, which was a buggy mess. They developed KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2, which was a buggy mess. And this has a lot of bugs in it, too. But I think the storyline makes it worth playing, and sort of the references to like Dungeons and Dragons and video games and South Park itself. It's worth seeing. I don't know what the price is out there. If it's cheap, definitely pick it up and give it a shot. But if you're looking for like a hardcore, amazing RPG, this is not it. But as a love letter to South Park, right there. There you go. Next up was a game I thought I would enjoy a lot more, because I've really been getting into this genre. But at the end of the day, this one just kind of felt bland, and there were some mechanics in it that I didn't like. I didn't like how unbalanced the fights were in this game. That game is Demon Gaze. Sometimes you're going through here and you fight a boss and they're easy as cake, and then you take another step and you fight a normal enemy and they wipe you out. And then conversely, you run into bosses that are just impossible and take a really long time to beat, and you have to do a lot of level grinding. So it feels really unbalanced to me. But that being said, if you're looking for another first-person dungeon crawler, I don't know what the price is on this, but it does have its moments. It does kind of have those, anime pervy moments in it, but they're nowhere near as bad as like Danganronpa or some of the other games out there. But yeah, I don't know. Demon Gaze, when I compare it to like an Unchained Blades or an Etrian Odyssey, not very good. But if you kind of take it on its own merits, and you can kind of get into it, but really it just felt kind of bland at the end of the day. And I didn't actually finish it because I got to one of the final bosses and I could not beat them, and I was just really not feeling the game anymore. So I shelved it, and I said, well, I'll go back to it, and I haven't yet, but there's probably worse games out there, but this one was just kind of bland for me. And, whatever. The next game, however, I had a blast with, but I had more fun with, the other games ahead of it. This was one of my, I bought it on a whim. And I've never played another game in this series, and while some people kind of gave this game crap for being smaller, I guess, than the other games, I had a blast with it, and it's kind of the opposite of the Dark Souls games, where Dark Souls makes you feel completely worthless and helpless. This game makes you feel like a complete badass running around a fictionalized Seattle, and that is Infamous Second Son. I had a ball with this game. I haven't downloaded the DLC yet, but I'm kind of thinking about it, because I really just enjoyed my time with it. The story's a little ham-fisted, but just running around a town using all these superhero powers to do various things, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan of sandbox games anymore, but this one, the city just felt the right size. Sometimes I feel like the games get a little too big, and it's a little too hard to manage everything in them. Or I just get completely lost, or in the case of Grand Theft Auto, I just start blowing things up with a rocket launcher. But for some reason, this one held my attention throughout, and I really enjoyed doing all the little side missions and stuff, and seeing where the storyline goes. I played. They don't call it a Paragon, but basically the Paragon storyline, and I kind of want to go back through it and play as sort of the renegade, the evil guy, just to see how much the story changes, if at all. But it might be cheap out there now, and if you're just looking for something to sit down and have fun with, you really can't do any more wrong than Infamous Second Son. I mean, it's a great time. So there is that. I'm already losing energy on this. I hate reshooting videos. It's so awful. It's just like I feel like I'm doing the same thing twice. And anyway, after Infamous, we go back to a download-only title, although you can import a Japanese copy that's physical. And that game is Strider. And this also was kind of it was a game that I was going to put off for a while. And then Happy Console Gamer and Rob Man talked about it, and they just gushed about the game. And when Rob said those fateful words, or that fateful word of Metroidvania, I got on my PS4 and downloaded that right away, because I love that genre. There's something about the 2D exploration that I don't know, Metroid and Castlevania and what Monster Tale and now this. I love that genre to death. So downloaded and played it and just had a ball with it. And if you like the old school Strider game on the Sega Genesis, download this game. It's so much fun. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know if it's gone down in price any, but man, I just had a blast. And I really, gosh, I really wish Nintendo would do a Metroid in the 2D style again. Every time I play one of these games, these new Metroidvania games that come out, I always wish Nintendo would make another one. You know, even if it's for the 3DS, because I had a great time with Cave Story on the 3DS. I really wish they'd do another one. And now Steven was, the other night Steven was talking about Super Metroid, and it just, I must play Other M this year. I know people hate Other M, but I'm going to play it this year. I just want to play some Metroid. Put fucking Metroid on the Wii U. That's all I ask. And a good one. Next up, we have a very recent game. And it's a series that I always call myself an amateur in this series, because it's not something I know people that take this shit seriously. And this is not a series I really take seriously. I just like to sit back and enjoy it with my friends. That is Super Smash Brothers on the Wii U. This is a love letter to Nintendo fans. The game itself is fun, but it's almost like a museum for Nintendo. Just as a catalog of their history. From the characters, to the trophies, to the ungodly amount of music you can just set and listen to. There's even things where it talks about the games that these characters are from. I mean, what they pack on this disc, you are getting your money's worth if you're a Nintendo fan. But yeah, had a ball with this. Apparently, for the game night with Smash, I guess it's pretty laggy online, but playing it with your friends in the living room, that's the way to play the game. And I played a couple 8-player matches, and it's just fucking insane to have 8 people on the screen at one time. I have been maining Shulk, and apparently Shulk, for those that are in the know, is not one of the best characters to use, but for some reason, I really like using Shulk, and for some reason, because I love Xenoblade, and I really hope that we get some DLC characters somewhere down the road. Not that there's not enough characters in there as it is anyway, but I would like to see more of the Xenoblade characters come into play. I want Rhine, so he can, Rhine time all over the place. That'd be awesome. But anyway, definitely, if you're looking for something fun to play, and that's kind of the Wii U's MO nowadays, is you just want to have fun with your friends. Right here is a great time with friends. I know some people don't like Smash, but I like playing it with friends. And like that, and I know that this was a big YouTuber's game of the year, but for me, it's sitting right where it's at. But at the same time, I cannot tell you how impressed I was with this, because I used to not be a fan of this series. I got burned out on this series. And then this one came and just brought it all back. Mario Kart 8. If you want to sit and have a blast with friends, right here you go. I have enjoyed every second I put into this game. And that's probably mostly because I haven't started playing the 150cc's yet. Because that gets annoying when you're like right at the finish line, it's neck and neck, and then all of a sudden the computer just throws a red shell at you just to fuck with you. Love this game, and the zero-G stuff in this, it makes me just want F-Zero. It's time we get F-Zero back, and I think the Wii U is the system to do it, because this game is flat out gorgeous. Everyone talks about how the Wii U is so underpowered compared to the PS4 and the Xbox One. But then you throw something like this in, or kind of like the next game I'll show you, but definitely this game is just flat out gorgeous. Silky smooth, the controls are perfect. This is what I like to see. Nintendo putting out polished products where it seems like every other game company puts out sort of unfinished games, and then they patch them later. Nintendo, right out of the gate, seems to put out a nice finished product. So, Mario Kart 8. If you just want to have some fun with friends, fun, pick this one up. And then rounding out this sort of Nintendo trilogy here, this is a game that just came completely out of left field. And I remember seeing the trailer for it and being like, what the hell are they doing? That's insane. And then I played one of the games in this very large series and just kind of fell in love with it. And then got really hyped for this one. And if you're a fan of The Legend of Zelda, you need to pick up Hyrule Warriors. Even though it's not a traditional Zelda game. Because my girlfriend was really excited when I got this. And then she saw that it was not the new Legend of Zelda. It was something different. She got kind of disappointed with it. It's not a Legend of Zelda game. It's a Dynasty Warriors game in the Zelda universe. And much like Smash is a history lesson for the entirety of Nintendo, this is a museum piece for the entirety of the Legend of Zelda. And just the stuff that's in it. There's the main storyline, which is, it keeps you going, but whatever. Then there's the huge adventure mode, and just so much to do in this game. I am nowhere near even close to finishing everything in the game. So, really looking forward to throwing this back in. And it's crazy how much I really enjoy playing my Wii U. As everyone talks about what a failure the system is, I think I probably had some of the biggest fun I had of the year on that system. So what are we down to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The final 6, because, well, one of them is a little bit interesting, but we'll get to that in a second. Coming at number 6, this game recently just came out, but this is one of those series that every time I play a game in the series, I'm like, oh, here we go. I don't really like these characters. I don't really like this story. And then by the end of the game, I'm like, oh my god, these are the best characters ever. This is the best story ever. I'm having so much fun. That is Tales. The Tales of Hearts R. Started this up and it felt really clunky and old school. And then I started to enjoy the clunkiness of the battle system and the old school feel. And the characters were kind of, And then by the end of it, the characters were some of my favorites, and it happens every Tales game. I don't really care for the world, and I don't really care for the storyline, and then as the game progresses, it just gets better and better and better, and I enjoy it more. And it's so weird to have an RPG with an overworld map. It's like, it used to be the norm, but now it's like, it's so weird. And when you leave a town for the first time and you see this huge expansive world in front of you to explore, it brings something back in me, because that's how games used to be, and not like you go to a map screen and you pick the next place you want to go. So in a lot of ways, this rekindled a lot of old school love for me. And if you've played some of the older Tales games like Symphonia, or even the older ones like Eternia and things like that, you'll probably enjoy this one a bit more. This is one of the most skit-heavy Tales games I've ever played, though. And that gets kind of a little weird because this game is voiced fully in Japanese with English subtitles, which a lot of people threw a stink about, but I didn't really see where it bothered me all that much. But anyway, I had a lot of great old-school fun with this. We're damn lucky we got it, because it seems like Bandai Namco does not want to bring out the Vita titles over here because, quote unquote, the Vita is a failure. Whatever. But if you're looking for a new portable RPG, right here you go. This is a great one. Keeping with the old school feel. This is a game that a lot of people really loved, and then all of a sudden it took a hard right turn and people started to despise. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I can see why people had a problem with it, because it does have a glaring problem in it. But you can push through that glaring problem pretty quick. And at number 5, we have Bravely Default. If you're like me and you love old school Final Fantasies, this is what you need to pick up. Because until you get to the second half of the game where it starts to repeat everything, this is fucking gold. Fried gold, in fact. Just the job system in it, the way you can speed up the battle system and make the battle system work for you so the grinding is not so horrible. I actually enjoyed the storyline. I thought it was, pretty interesting until it got to a certain point. And then after that certain point, it got good again. It's supposed to be kind of a spiritual successor to Four Heroes of Light. But if anything, this is a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy V. And the job system in Final Fantasy V is one of the best job systems out there. Right here. I know it got a lot of crap for, chapters 5 through 7. But if you push through it like I didn't do any of the extra stuff, so it really kind of shortened the game down. I know why they did it. They did it to sort of give you more time to explore more jobs and level them up. But if you're like me, you do a ton of grinding in video games, because I grew up on Dragon Warrior and the old school Final Fantasies where you actually had to grind. Old school RPGs where you actually had to grind or you get your ass handed to you. So in a lot of the modern RPGs, I find myself really over-leveled for things. And that's really what happened in Bravely Default. Like, I got to a certain point where it's like nothing was touching me because I had most, if not all most of the jobs maxed out, and my characters were just ridiculously leveled. And yeah, but I had so much fun with it. I'm really looking forward to Bravely Second, and hopefully they fix a lot of the problems that they had in this one. Not a lot, just that big segment of the game where everything starts to repeat over and over again. And yeah, but other than that, this is a fantastic RPG, and it sucks that that spot in the game is what most people talk about instead of talking about all the good things that this game does, because it really is a fantastic throwback to Final Fantasy V, which, people who've played it love that job system. The storyline in Final Fantasy V, meh, but that job system and creating really powerful characters, it feels great to do. All right, number 4. This is an interesting one because I honestly could not separate these games. So we have a bit of a tie here for the number 4 spot. There's no way in my brain that I could say one was better than the other. And those games are Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2. These are amazing. I'm starting to really get into the visual novel genre, which is sort of a natural extension of the RPG genre, because I love RPGs for their storyline, so why not play games that are almost nothing but storyline? I had some problems with it. The logic in the courtroom battles is a bit fuzzy at times, and you don't really know. It takes a while to kind of figure out the mini games, and for a while you kind of feel like you don't really know what you're doing. But in terms of sheer storyline craziness, there's only one game that's more insane than these games, and I loved finding out about the characters, finding out the mystery behind it. I wish there were more sort of murder mystery games out there, because I really enjoy a good murder mystery, and a lot like 999, you get so addicted to what twist is going to happen next. Especially, I remember playing Danganronpa 1 and just being stuck in that school and just being just waiting for the next murder just so you can just figure out more stuff. And then when you get to Danganronpa 2, the island setting, in some regards, I found the island setting creepier than I found the school setting in the first one. So it's a great series, rated M for mature, so not for the kiddies, because there is a lot of especially with Danganronpa 2. Danganronpa 2 goes sort of off the rails a little bit and goes into places like, I remember like Alex and I were discussing it in the chat one day about how crazy Danganronpa 2 was getting, because it does, I mean, Danganronpa 1 kind of pushes you right up to the line, and then there's things, certainly one event in Danganronpa 2 where it's like, alright, you guys have gone completely over the line. And it's funny and it's great and it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of creepy in a way. So if you're looking for something really interesting to play, definitely pick up the 2 Danganronpa games. I guess like the limited editions, I'm lucky I bought the limited editions when I did. I guess the limited edition for Trigger Happy is over $100 now. So I'm really glad that I picked those up when they came out, because I don't know, it's not like I'm ever going to sell it, but if I wanted to, there you go. Speaking of crazy ass limited editions, the next game I just had a ball with, and this, note to JRPG developers, this is how you do JRPG sequels correctly, and that is Tales of Xillia 2. I don't understand, and we've only had a few companies really do it. You know, and I'm mainly looking at Final Fantasy, because it seems like when Final Fantasy does a direct sequel, they have to fucking reinvent the wheel. And that's not what I want. You know, Final Fantasy 13-2 didn't really reinvent the wheel. It had the same battle system. And I enjoyed 13-2 a lot more than I enjoyed 13. And then Lightning Returns came out, and I saw all that they were doing with Lightning Returns, and I still haven't picked that thing up. I'm waiting till that thing gets below $20 before I pick that up. And then like Final Fantasy X-2, you know, I need to go back and play that again on the Vita, but I remember just not being happy with it back in the day. Now, there are RPG sequels that do things right, but it's always a new cast of characters, you know, like Lunar and Lunar 2. Direct sequels, but a completely different cast of characters. And a lot of times you don't have the same characters populating the world. Now, Mass Effect did it right, I felt. But JRPGs have a hard time with direct sequels. Excuse me. Until this one came out. And what I want is I want everything that made the first game great, and then I just want to see where these characters are at now. And Xillia 2 does that. Same battle system, same world, and then the characters actually kind of progress in a very natural way. It feels natural that this would be the next stage of these characters' lives. The only downside to the game was the protagonist of Luger, because I'm so used to Tails' characters being very verbose that to have a silent protagonist feels incredibly weird in a Tales game. But I was really surprised to see how good this storyline would be, because it does seem like with JRPGs, in the first game you have this big world-shattering event. Well, what are you going to do in the second game? Have an even bigger, more world-shattering event? It's kind of a more personal story, and it takes kind of the victory that you had in the first game and kind of makes it feel like maybe not such a good thing. So it makes you look back at the first game in a whole new light, and really, really enjoyed that about Tales of Xillia 2. And if you guys haven't played the Xillia series yet, I would highly recommend it. I don't know if they'll do a Xillia 3 and make a trilogy out of it. I would personally be very excited for it if they did, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it. But really excited that they did this, because it's just great to go back and see characters that you loved continue to deepen and get better. So, Xillia 2, number 3. Take a swig here. My throat is parched. Too much talking. All right. Number 2. And this one, I wasn't really paying any attention to it. And then I played it at PAX East and just kind of fell in love with it, because I am a big World War II, like, I don't want to say fan, because it's hard to be a fan of a war, but I love to read about World War II, and I also love alternate histories. So when this game came out, it seemed like it was custom designed for my needs. That is Wolfenstein: The New Order. Yeah, I know. Dustin Kreis putting a first-person shooter at number 2. What the hell's going on? But this is such a fantastic game, and it's amazing that a first-person shooter comes out in this day and age without any multiplayer. What? Are these people crazy? This is some of the most fun I've had with a first-person shooter since probably Halo. I just loved running around shooting Nazis, because who doesn't love shooting Nazis? They're like history's greatest villain. All you gotta do is put a Nazi in it, and automatically you're like, yes, I must kill them. Just a great game. An interesting storyline. It does hiccup every now and then, especially during these really forced feeling sex scenes. I don't know why they put that in there, but it feels very out. It probably is in there because this kind of feels like a grindhouse movie, but the sex scenes feel really out of place and really kind of hokey, and they just make you giggle because they're so awkward. But the rest of the storyline is pure pulp, and I love it. I really want to go back and replay this to get the second storyline, because the game presents you with a choice very early on as to who you have the choice between 2 characters to save, and if you choose one, the story goes off in one direction. You choose the other, the story goes off in the other direction. So I want to see how the storyline changes, because apparently it does change quite significantly, and I think that'll be interesting. Plus, I just want to replay this game because it is a lot of fun. And if you guys haven't picked this up yet, I highly recommend you pick this up. It really makes me look forward to the new Doom. If the new Doom is handled in the same way that this one is, Doom's going to be awesome. But I really hope that Machine Games gets a second chance, gets to do another Wolfenstein, because I think this was a big success. I really think this sold well. I would need to look up the numbers, but it seems like this was a good success for Bethesda. And, man, I need to go back and kill these guys again. Alright, here we are. Number 1 game of the year. And I don't know if I've played a more fucked up game this year. Definitely not this year. But this game, from beginning to end, to the DLC, to trying to platinum the game, which I need to get back at doing. This one, I want this to be the first game I platinum. And just from beginning to end, this game put a huge smile on my face, and I loved every second of it. And people gave the media gave this game such horse shit because for various reasons. But my game of the year for 2014 is Drakengard 3. I'm a huge fan of Nier. I love Nier to death. Drakengard 1, oh my god, my legs are falling asleep. Drakengard 1, I need to go back and replay it. I tried playing it earlier in the year, and it's very clunky and kind of hard to play. And then I want to play Drakengard 2 as well. I haven't got around to playing that yet. But Drakengard 3, man, I love this. People will say it's just a simple hack and slash RPG, and it is. But for some reason, I found it to be very satisfying, and a lot in the same regard of Infamous. Running around as Zero, you just kind of feel like this badass. And when you buy new weapons and upgrade them, and you just go in and slaughter everybody, it's fantastic. And I can't remember the new name of the studio, but it's made up of former Cavia employees. They did this with, of course, the creator of the Drakengard series. And I don't know if this will be the last chance they ever get to do something, but they really went out on an awesome bang. And we can sit here and we can debate the game's technical merits. Sure, the graphics aren't as amazing as, everyone thinks they should be. But for me personally, I was so looking forward to this. I bought it's up there. I bought the limited edition off Square Enix's store, and like most people, bit my nails wondering if Digital River was actually going to send it to me. But man, I loved this game so much, and I really need to go back to it, and I need to beat that final boss. That's a music rhythm game. I suck at music rhythm games. I have a good sense of rhythm, but for some reason I suck at music rhythm games. And I need to beat all the DLC, and I need to platinum this thing. I think I'm going to work on that this year sometime. Because I think this year I'm going to do a lot of different things. I'm going to try to bust through this backlog as much as I can. I'm not going to make a backlog video, because every time I make a backlog video, it just blows chunks, and I never do it. But I am going to try to bust through a lot of these older games and try to get some of the more requested games that I play up on the channel. But yeah, Drakengard 3, number 1, with a bullet. Agree, disagree? I don't care. It's my list. Go make your own. So here we are to 2015. A bunch of new releases coming out. Some things I'm excited for. We're going to do 2015 differently. I'm going to do whatever games I play from this point forward. So I'm playing Persona 3 Portable right now and Dragon Warriors 7. Those will be on the list for Game of the Year next year. Even though Dragon Warriors 7's how old? It might be Game of the Year for 2015. Who knows? I'm going to try to focus back on the channel again. 2014 was an insane year. Not insane in a good way. Insane in kind of a bad way. But I'm hoping that 2015 is going to be better. I hope I can get back to what the channel was. I feel like I've gotten into this game discussion pickup video sort of rut, where those are the only videos I do. And I want to get back into doing more of the random videos, where I just sit down and talk about something in video games, or I cook something and put it up there, or I drink something and put it up there. You know, back to the randomness the channel used to be. I kind of miss it. And it seems very sterile in some ways. Whereas the podcast feels kind of fast and loose. My channel is starting to feel kind of stale. At least to me, anyway. I don't know what you guys think. But I'm hoping that in 2015, I get my mojo back and I can start doing some really great videos for you guys. Because I kind of miss it. And I definitely miss watching everyone's videos. I've really taken just a break from YouTube. Watching, commenting. The only thing I do is make videos and put them up nowadays. And I need to get away from that and get back to sort of the more community-mindedness that I was before this year kind of derailed me. But anyway, so good things are coming. Another gaming podcast. We are going to be kind of focusing more on doing stuff. We got something in the works. Hopefully it works out well, because if it works out well, it will be flat out amazing. And I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to jinx anything. But really looking forward to seeing where that goes. And talking about bringing back some of our old guests for sort of sequel episodes of the podcast. So we might do some of that. Always looking out for new channels to bring on the podcast. But yeah, we'll see where we go. I don't know. Sky's the limit, I guess. But anyway, that is my list for 2014. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of shit because Dark Souls is at the end and Drakengard's at the top. But whatever. Go make your own. Anyway, that is it for this. I'm going to get off of here, go stand up so blood can go back into my legs. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.